Yo, what is up, everybody? Popo here, bringing guys a new video. And today we're going to be ranking the Megas. We're going to talk about how they're going to do when Pokemon Champions drops, if they're going to be good or not. We're going to speculate on the new ones that have been revealed. Of course, more will be revealed or shown off before the games come out. And we're less than a month away from the games coming out, so we're going to see a lot more Megas when that happens too. And we'll revisit this list. And of course, Pokemon Champions isn't even coming out until at least January. So, that's right. Who knows when it's going to drop, but we're going to be ready for it. But I just want to go through the Megas. We already threw down here the Restricteds and the Legendary Pokemon just to... We're not going to talk about those because they're not going to be allowed in the first series or first few series, hopefully. And we'll get to use some of the other... Mega Pokemon. So, Mega is a mechanic, in my opinion. I don't really like it, honestly. Terrestrialization is way better. I like Dynamax much more. It feels more balanced. You know, there's a lot more variation. Whereas Megas, there's been a problem with Megas. Though, something to think about when we're going through this list now is the way that speed tiering has changed. Before, when you would Mega Evolve, you would still go in the place of your pre-Mega evolution. So some of the Megas that get a speed boost, like Salamence, would still go at Salamence's speed. So a lot of the times what you would do is you would just Mega Evolve and Protect, right? Because you want to get into that new speed tier going on to the next one. Or sometimes you Mega Evolved and went into that speed tier because your Pokemon got slower. So there were a couple of instances of that, but that won't be an issue anymore. So just wanted to say that. And yeah, I mixed these up because they were all in order, but now we are going to start, and we got Pinsir as our first Pokemon here. So Pinsir actually had a really good stint back in the day. It was actually pretty decent Pokemon. Aerialate is a really good ability, and it just made Pinsir a lot more dangerous. And I still think it's gonna be niche. I think it could be good in the first couple, but since all of the Megas are gonna be in the game, including the ones that were introduced in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, it's gonna be a lot tougher for this Pokemon to really prosper in that kind of metagame. Because I don't think this thing was released then. I think it was released as the first set, but I think it'll be niche. I think people will use it for fun. You know, it could play a role on some teams, maybe as a second Mega option, because that is possible too. We saw a lot of teams have success with 2 Mega options, and you know, who knows, right? But it's going to be competing for the same spot as Salamence, which is a really difficult position to fight over, and it can be intimidated. So it's got 2 things going against it, and yeah. Absol, despite its typing, has never really been good. It's possible that it does improve now. Maybe they change some of these Megas' abilities or their stat lines. I don't think that's going to happen, but it's possible. I just don't think Absol is going to be any good. It was a trash Pokemon then. I think it'll be trash now. Oh, man. I think it's going to be niche only because it gets Intimidate, but it only gets Intimidate when you Mega it, so you have to commit to the Mega. I think it has Lightning Round otherwise, right? I don't know, but it's not that great. I can't even think of the Pokemon's name at the moment. So, yeah, it's... Audino is absolutely garbage. It is the worst Mega. Like I'll confidently say that, and I'll put that out there. I think it's the worst Mega. It doesn't do anything. Its ability doesn't help. It just it's just a bad Pokemon. It's just bad, right? It's just bad. So yeah, trash tier. Mega Scizor, though, I think Mega Scizor is very good. Technician Bullet Punch with this huge attack stat is like crazy. So yeah, we are big fans of this. I think it won quite a few tournaments back in the day. At least won a few. I don't know how many or what ranking of tournaments, because I had just started playing at the time. But yeah, Mega Scizor was really good back then too, and people started to use it again against Xerneas before they realized that Bronzong was just better. But it started to come along for those matchups too, because it would just do so much damage into the Xerneas. Mega Garchomp. Mega Garchomp's one of those Pokemon that already wasn't good, and now it's going to be affected by those speed changes. So I think it'll be the top of trash, and the only reason why I'm saying the top of trash because it still has like 170 base attack, which is crazy, but it lowers in speed, so you're losing a lot of what make Garchomp really good, which is one, its speed, and two, its item, and the rough skin on top of that like is just a little bit added bonus for that. You do a lot of damage. If you can get a couple of earthquakes off, you're kind of probably cruising. But Mega Salamence is just so strong, and you're going to be able to intimidate Garchomp, which means it doesn't knock out with like Dragon Claw. Plus, Salamence is so bulky and it's so much faster than Salamence. I mean, so much faster than Garchomp that it's not even going to be relevant. I think even after Intimidate, Dragon Claw probably doesn't knock out Salamence now, Mega Salamence, but I don't know that for sure. A Pokemon that's actually going to get better because of the speed changes is going to be Pidgeot. I think it could be decent. No-Guard is really good. No-Guard Hurricane is really good. It has a huge special attack. So you can do some really cool things with that. I just don't think it's ever going to be like a regional winning Pokemon. I think this will be a Pokemon that's used for like content, or people use it on ladder just to, you know, as a second mega option that they can take people by surprise, right? Because once again, No-Guard is just so good. It's just really, really hard to stop. Maybe we see some like shenanigans with No-Guard. I'm not really sure, but giving an option that's better than Machamp to take No-Guard from and still put on pressure onto your opponent could be a really cool way. Tailwind is also very good. So Pidgeot, very good. Another Pokemon that actually gets a huge boon from the speed changes, Alakazam. And I know you're like, oh, you're gonna put him in. Well, Alakazam got super, super buffed by two different things, right? So number one is that speed goes up to 150. That is Calyrex's speed. And it has a special attack. I think it's 170, which is higher than Calyrex's speed. But not only that, but now it gets expanding force, which it didn't get back when it had Megas. So it gets expanding force with that speed. So next to Indeedee or Tapu Lele, this Pokemon is going to be able to do humongous damage with the expanding force. It's gonna be kind of crazy. I should have had a list up here. I forgot what his ability is. Oh, there is a list right here. Where is Alakazam? He has Trace, so you can trace a pretty good ability, and that could, you know, be beneficial. But yeah, like huge 175 actually, which is 10 more than Calyrex. Though he doesn't get an item, of course, and he doesn't have the bulk. He actually has better bulk than Fluttermane. And he has more speed and more special attack than Fluttermane too. So that just puts it into perspective, though you can't boost energy and you can't focus sash. So you do, like, there are giveaways for it, but you're gaining so much benefit from it as well that it's like, it's so much damage. It's so much damage. So this Pokemon is actually going to be pretty scary. Looking forward to facing it? No, not really. It's kind of like, Mega Sharpedo. I think this will be also very niche. This is like at the peak here, only because it gets speed boost in its first form, so you can get like a protect speed boost, and then it has pretty decent attack and a pretty decent typing with Dark Water. You can hit a lot of things for at least neutral, and you're going to be faster than most things. It's 105 plus a speed boost. And then it gets Strong Jaw, so you can go for crunches and things like that. Maybe they give it Fishious Run. If they gave it Fishious Run, that'd be busted, right? But I doubt that's going to happen. But I just think it could be okay. Another one that's probably for content and not really going to be used seriously. All right, here's our first theoretical Pokemon, right? We got the Mega Malamar, which this design, by the way, is peak. I love Malamar. And I'm going to say it's going to be decently common, and the reason why is, one, it can't be intimidated at the first. I think this is going to be a special attacking one, and I think it's going to have a new type of status kind of thing. We see in the trailer for ZA, it like hypnotizes a Dragonite, and the Dragonite has like an icon over its head, and I don't know what that is, and that could be something that's already there. Maybe it's infatuation, maybe it's, you know, confusion. I don't know. But if this Pokemon gets something that's new, that could be really cool. But we really don't have any information. There is some information over on the website. We don't know the stats, of course. We don't know what ability it's going to have. Is it going to go from contrary to something else? You know, with contrary, you can, you know, hurt your own stats in order to get buffs. So maybe you do that on the first couple of turns, then you Mega Evolve. This thing looks like it's going to be fast. Malamar's not really fast. I don't know. I have no idea. Though it does have 4 times weakness to Bug, which is sometimes pretty rough. A U-turn usually knocks you out, especially if this guy's hanging around. Next we have Mega Gyarados, and now we all know Mega Gyarados, 2014 World Champion, the first Mega World Champion. It's niche, right? It's probably here. It's niche. It gets Intimidate right out the get-go, and then it gets Mold Breaker. What's Mold Breaker really doing this day and age? It's not really super helpful. You know, what was it doing then? I mean, it really wasn't doing much then. Hitting Cresselia maybe, but you're just gonna use a Dark move in the Cresselia. What? Yeah, there's not really much. I guess you can hit Gastrodon with Waterfall. So, I mean, there's a couple of things that you could do with Mold Breaker, but overall, I just think it's gonna be kind of meh. Once again, water dark typing is pretty good. He's just really slow, but he's pretty bulky. So he's got that going on for him. What's his bulk look like? His bulk is, you know, 109 and 130 on a 95 HP with 155 attack. So, like, his stats are there. It's just, meh. Meh. All right. Next, we have one of my favorites. Okay, in singles, I played this Pokemon a lot, and if you don't know, Bug is my favorite type, and that's Heracross. This thing is trash, but I think it could be good. I mean, it can hit multi times, right? It's just you could just spam multi-hit moves with Skill Link, and it gets a lot of them, and he has base 185 attack. What I used to do is I used to speed boost with Scolipede, and then I would just Baton Pass, and you could Sword Dance too. And then you just Baton Pass into Mega Heracross, and then it's super fast, and then it just one-shots everything. So it is a fun Pokemon, but I just don't think it's that good. Its bulk is okay too. I mean, maybe. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. It's just 4 times weak to flying, and flying was pretty common back then. Everybody had a flying Talonflame on their team, basically. Speaking of weak to flying, Chestnut, another Pokemon I really love. This could go one of 2 ways as well. So there's a really interesting thing it says in there where its shields become its sword. So I'm thinking it might have the same ability as Aegislash, and that when you attack, you actually change forms until you defend again. And maybe that defense is Spiky Shield. Maybe that defense is a new move that it gets. I don't really know, but I'm going to go on the basis that that's what's going to happen. Because, once again, that's kind of what it's talking about in the release on the website. So, if that's the case, I think this Pokemon's probably going to be trash. But just for, you know, hedging my bets, I think it might be up here. It's 4 times weak to flying again, and if you're lowering your defense to get your attack up, there's a lot of, you know, negatives for that, but it's a Pokemon I like. Gets some pretty good moves. We've seen it used in VGC today. I want to say relatively successful because it did have one good run in like a actual regional, but other than that, it hasn't really shown up. But I like it. And I like Chestnut. You know, he's I really like Chestnut. He's my favorite starter from Gen 6. Though that might be I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence now. I like Delphox too. But next we have Mega Raichu Y. So I think both of these things, I think one's going to be a physical attacker and one's going to be a special attacker. I just don't know what they're gonna have. And Raichu is like okay, you know, lightning rod. It's fast. It gets fake outs. What else? What is Mega Raichu Y gonna do that regular Raichu's not already doing? But now you lose a Focus Sash, right? So that's where it comes to like, is this a Pokemon that gets improved by Mega Evolution? And probably not. Honestly, probably not. So I'm just going to put it in the middle of niche because I just really don't know. I really, really don't. Now a Pokemon I do know about. Camerupt. Mega Camerupt. So Mega Camerupt back in the day was meh. It was okay, but it was never really that great. A lot of that had to do with later on when we got, you know, a lot of rain going on and stuff. But I think Mega Camerupt actually is going to be fairly common. I think this Pokemon is actually really, really good. Let me get its stats up. I gotta find it. So, oh, where is he? Am I just blind? I know I'm just blind. Oh, yeah, it's Manectric, by the way. This is Mega Manectric. I don't know why I couldn't think of his name. Is he in Omega Ruby? Oh, yeah. Okay. So he has 145 special attack with Eruption, but biggest thing is he actually has 20 speed, so he underspeeds a Moongus, which is a big, big deal. If indeed he ends up being in the game, or if we can get another Psychic Terrain user in the game, this could be very good. He's just better than Torkoal. He has better defenses. His physical defense is worse, but his special defense is much better. His special attack is 65 points higher, so almost double what we're dealing with there. And it gets sheer force, so you can use Heat Wave, right? Heat Wave is going to get that 50% boost. That's going to almost be 150. So you don't even have to go for Eruptions. You can go for that. Earth Power is going to get a huge buff. It's possible that it gets like the Scorching Sand, which could be a really good option since it's only 5 base power, plus you're going to get the sheer force. You could use that if it doesn't have Earth Power for some reason. There's a bunch of different options, right? Burning Jealousy is even a pretty good option. You can do like Heat Wave, Burning Jealousy, something else, because it's going to get powered up from that sheer force. So you have 100% accurate fire spread move. That's not Eruption if your Eruption gets hit or something. So there are options there, and this Pokemon's just going to do massive amounts of damage. Even with Torkoal getting Charcoal, it doesn't even equal the 145. So this is always going to do more. And once again, Heat Wave plus sheer force, it's like holding a Choice Specs on a 145. It's going to do a massive amount of damage. But like I said, that 20 in speed is going to be huge because it's going to be the slowest Pokemon in the format. And there's nothing close. And with the changes to everything, what is Camerupt speed? I think it's like 60 or something, right? It's something stupid. It's 40, so I guess it is relatively slow. I thought it was faster than that, but yeah. So it is relatively slow, but it goes from 105 special attack up to 145. And all you gotta do is set up the sun, right? And then you're good to go. So yeah, just set up the sun. All right, so I think Mega Camerupt's gonna be really good. This Pokemon, Victory Bell. I keep saying Mega Weeping Bell, and I don't know why. But it's obviously Victory Bell. I know. I think this thing's going to be trash. It's possible that it could be good, and it is dictated by its ability. A lot of people are saying its ability, like, seemingly is going to be hit steel types for super effective. I don't think so. I think it's just going to be Corrosion, which is just hit steel types with poison moves, right? Sneasler is already confirmed to be in the game. We've seen Sneasler in the Pokemon Champion trailers. We've seen it, like, fighting Incineroar, which is another Pokemon this will have to deal with. And yeah, Sneasler is always just going to be used over this Pokemon unless they do something crazy with this thing. I mean, it's taking your Mega Slot. If it's super bulky, you're not going to really want to use your Mega Slot on it. If it's like a stall-out Pokemon, you're not really going to want to use that when you can just use Sneasler, who's putting offensive pressure on steel types with close combat. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think this Pokemon is going to be any good, and I just really don't. I think a lot of people are rooting for it. And listen, I like Victory Bell. I just don't think it's it. I just don't think it's it. Venusaur, Mega Venusaur was okay back in the day. It was pretty okay. So I'm gonna put it actually. It's probably gonna be niche. I think it's gonna be in the niche tier. Thick Fat is really good. You can start with the chlorophyll. That was one of the advantages of it back then, though, is you could start with the chlorophyll early, and then you could terastallize to take a ice attack, because ice was pretty common back then with like hidden power and stuff like that. So ice was pretty common, and you can terastallize out of that, but you could terastallize and sleep powder on the same turn, so you can avoid like taking a huge ice attack while also getting sleep powder at the speed of chlorophyll Venusaur, because once again the speed tiers did not change. So like you could do some interesting stuff. That's not going to be available anymore. I think Venusaur is much slower. I think it's slow. No, it's the same speed as base Venusaur, so you're not really losing anything in terms of speed, but you gain a ton of bulk. This is one where the bulk is okay because you're doing so many different things, right? It can put out offensive pressure. It can put out, stall pressure. It could do a bunch of things, though. I still think it's going to be more of a niche Pokemon. Maybe your second option if you're running like a Sun team with Charizard. This is a good option, and you just have a Mega Stone on it because there's no really better item. And sometimes you might not want to Mega your Charizard, and this is the better option. So there are some stuff like that. We'll have to see. Now, they love this Pokemon, right? This has been voted the last few years as the number one most liked Pokemon. They're gonna make this thing broken, right? They're gonna make it broken. Leaf actually said that they're gonna just make it like Urshifu. It's just gonna be Urshifu. Some people have said it's gonna make all of its moves have Sucker Punch, so if you're attacking it, it attacks you first. I've heard that. Though the moves don't fail if you don't attack it, they just go at regular speed, which could be interesting, but then Quick Guard would be very strong against this Pokemon. Personally, I'm not really sure. All I know is it's going to be very, very fast, and it's going to have a lot of special attacks. So we're going to have to be really worried about this Pokemon. I think it could even go up to like 160 speed with Icy Wind. Could be really, really strong for a lot of teams. It could put a lot of offensive pressure. You set this thing next to like maybe like a Sneasler, or you set this thing next to like a mid-speed tiered like decent Pokemon, and you can just start taking knockouts pretty early in the game. So yeah, and Water Shuriken is always going to be decent. It's always there. It's a priority move that's going to hit 2 to 5 times. So there's a lot of options for this Pokemon, especially if it gets that special attack boost. It's going to be really, really scary. Next, we have Slowbro. Slowbro is bad, too. It's just bulkier Slowbro, but you just don't really need it. It can't be crit. If Urshifu comes back, maybe this is the option against Urshifu teams, right? It's Urshifu for super effective. It can take all of Urshifu's attacks. Even Dark Urshifu isn't going to do, like, massive amounts of damage to this thing. So, like, that could be the option. This could be the Pokemon for that, but we'll have to see. Because what's its special defense? I think it was a second, yeah. Its special defense is only 80, but its physical defense is 180. So, yeah, I guess Dark Urshifu would probably still do some okay damage, but definitely helps. Definitely helps. Next, we have Sceptile, which is it's a Pokemon, right? Why is it not on the list? Am I just blind? I know I'm blind. I've said this like 4 times. Okay, it's up here. It gets Lightning Rod, which as a 4 times resist doesn't really matter. I think this thing is... I mean, it was good. It was good for a little while back in the day. Back in like 2016, like before... Actually, it was 2015 before the... before they allowed Groudon and Kyogre. This thing was actually pretty decent. It gets unburdened before it mega evolves, which you won't be able to take advantage of. It has, yeah, I think this thing's just trash. I think it's just trash. Being 4 times weak to ice is just kind of trash. And having lightning rod doesn't really help you at all. Is there a water type that you would sit this next to take the electric attacks? Not really, right? And Electro Web is still going to hit both. So, well, it's going to get eaten by this, but hit the other one. So I just don't think it's... I don't think it's anything. I think it's trash. Altaria, also trash. It has Pixelate, which is pretty good, but its stats are the worst of basically all the megas. You know, its highest stat is 110. And that's its attack, defense, and special attack. It's just bad. Alright, Mega Lopunny. It's 135 speed, 136 attack. I don't think it's going to be any good. It gets scrappy, which means it can't be intimidated, but you can intimidate it before it actually mega evolves, so it's pretty trash. Fighting normal is not really a good typing either. It can't hit ghost types. It's kind of booty cheeks, dog water in my opinion. Speaking of booty cheeks, dog water, we got Mega Sableye. He's also booty cheeks, dog water. This is probably worse here. It just doesn't do anything. It's 20 speed, but just doesn't have good stats. It's pretty bulky and it gets magic bounce, but Prankster's just better. So like, what are we doing? Just not a good Pokemon. Speaking of good Pokemon, we got Mega Blaziken. I think this thing will be relatively common. It's very strong and fast, and it also gets speed boost. It doesn't lose speed boost either, which is a pretty big deal because it has speed boost as a Blaziken, keeps speed boost. One of the few that actually does keep its same ability, and it can just output a lot of offensive pressure with 160 base attack. Its defenses are pretty mad. It's 80, 80, and 80. And its special attack is actually 130, so that's okay too. But I think you just always go physical attack with a 160. You know, close combat, flare blitz. You know, it gets quite a few actually pretty decent fire and fighting moves. It might even get Drain Punch, but I could be wrong about that. But if it does get Drain Punch, that will probably be the option. It's just a really good Pokemon. Sword Dance as well. You can Sword Dance, start Drain Punching things. You're just gonna have a good time. So. I think this Pokemon will be pretty common, especially early on in the format, since it's such a popular Pokemon and people really like Blaziken. Next is Kangaskhan. And, you know, if this was 2016, 2019, best of the best, right? Best of the best. It's not, though. It's not those years. And here's why. Okay, so in Sun and Moon, this actually got nerfed, right? We saw the nerf go from 50% damage from Parental Bond to 25, which was fine because you're still using Return and Drain, or in the Power Up Punch, which we're still getting double boost and still hitting for 120 plus an extra 25%. But no more because Return no longer exists. Power Up Punch no longer exists. What move are you using, right? Is it Double Edge? Like, that's going to be your best option. You got, you know, Body Slam, which actually has 2 chances to paralyze. So, I mean, that's pretty good too. But what else are you doing, right? Fake Out is still really good. And actually, it got buffed via Scrappy. So now you're not getting intimidated by Incineroar. And you can fake out a Ghost-type Pokemon in order for your other Pokemon to do some damage. But I just don't feel like it has a really good normal type attack option anymore. Like Return or Frustration. It just has bad attacks now. So it's kind of fallen off because of that, you know? It kind of destroyed 2 moves on its own, right? We always talk about how this Pokemon was actually nerfed, but we never talk about how the whole game was nerfed because of this Pokemon, which is a crazier thing. And I'm not saying they can't bring those things back. Maybe we do get Return back. Maybe we do get Power Up Punch back. But looking at it right now, this is where it's going to sit because it's going to end up knocking itself out. Like, obviously, Double Edge does a lot of damage, but you're also damaging yourself. It can You know, it can get intimidated, intimidate cycle by Incineroar. Like there's a lot of things going on with this thing. It does get low kick too, which has been a really good move in the last couple of years. So Blastoise, I think this will be a niche Pokemon. It's probably lower on here. Right? It's just kind of has Mega Launcher. 135 special attack isn't really the best thing. It does get fake outs. It's just meh. You know, it's just meh. So I think people will use it obviously because it's Blastoise. You know, people like to use these Pokemon for fun. So yeah, it'll still get some use, but I just don't think it'll be that good. Mega Aggron, was he an old one? I thought he was a new generation one. No, he was one. Mega Aggron was pretty bad back in the day. It does lose its type and go to Steel, and it gets Filter, so it takes actually less damage from super effective attacks, but now it gets Body Press. So I think there's a chance that it'll be a niche Pokemon. I mean, Body Press is really, really good. It has really good bulk with 80 special defense, only 70 HP, so it is lacking there, but maybe next to a Rillaboom, this Pokemon's healing up. You're getting a lot more value out of it without having to have leftovers, and then you can go for like Iron Defenses. You know, Sinistcha can heal this thing up, and then you're just hitting things for huge amounts of damage. You can hit with both, you know, Body Press, and you can hit with Heavy Slam at a higher attack stat than Zamazenta. So, like, this Pokemon is baby Zamazenta, basically, and just a slower version, baby version of Zamazenta. So, I think it could be really, really, really good in that aspect, and yeah, it could just getting Body Press really, really help this Pokemon, honestly. And like I said, Heavy Slam going to do some big damage. How heavy is Mega Aggron, actually? Let me see. Mega Aggron is 800 pounds. So, I don't know how Zamazenta is. Let me see. Zamazenta. Oh, not Amazon. What? I put in Zamazenta, and then it brought up Amazon when I pressed down and click. I don't know why. So Zamazenta, big boy form. Is it this? It can't be 463. I think that's the regular form, right? It doesn't say about the crowned form how heavy it is. But like Zamazenta has 140 defense plus 50%. So I mean, it's even less defense, right? You're getting 201, but in 120 attack. So, but you get the 140 special defense and 92 HP. So, like I said, it's a baby Zamazenta, basically, is what you're working with, which is pretty good. Speaking of pretty good, Mega Mawile. I'm gonna put this in best of best, and I might be biased. Listen, Mega Mawile was my favorite Mega to use back in the day when I first started playing. It was really, really good into everything, basically. So, like, huge power Sucker Punch, huge power Play Rough, huge power Iron Heads. Like, they were just doing massive, massive damage. Plus, when you first come in, you're getting those Intimidates. It's going to be a little bit tougher, as we saw in 2019 with Incineroar. But it's still a Pokemon I really like, and there's a lot more options to deal with Incineroar that you can have in the back now, to whereas then you couldn't. It was a lot harder to remove from the field, but we have, like, you know, the amulet now, and we can just negate and intimidate on our other Pokemon and maybe get knockouts with like a ground type or a water type, and clear the way from our Mawile. And it's a really good Pokemon because you can bait out your Mega, so you don't actually have to Mega. You can just send it out, get the Intimidate, and they think you're gonna Mega, and then you just like switch it out, or you go into just attacking with it or something like that. So there's a lot you could do with Mega Mawile, and I'm a big fan of Mega Mawile, and I will stand on that. What's its base attack as well? I know its base attack is really decent. I just saw it. Okay. Yeah, 105 doubled, so it's 210. So 210, and it has 125 defense, 95 special defense. Special defense is a little low with only 50 HP, but man, it just does massive amounts of damage, and it's the best counter to Mega Salamence. So let's get that going. But what's the best counter to Mega Mawile? and that's going to be Charizard. Why? This Pokemon was very good back in the day. Very, very good. It just, you know, sets up its own sun, just does a bunch of damage. Its stats are kind of ridiculous. It's, you know, 159 special attack, only 100 speed. Only 100 speed. That's still decent, but man, that 159 it just does so much damage, especially with the sun up. It's just kind of ridiculous. And yeah, people love it because it's Charizard and it looks cool, right? This is, like, in my opinion, the coolest form of Charizard. I know people will disagree with that and say it's X, but I like Mega Charizard Y more, look wise. But you know, each their own. Each their own. But I think it's gonna be really good. It's gonna be used quite a bit. There's gonna be a lot of things you can do with this Pokemon. There's more Pokemon used with it. You know, like Hisuian Lilligant potentially is a good option next to this Pokemon, because now you have a fighting type that can help support your flying type that's weak to rock types, you know. So there's a lot of different options there, though this Pokemon hates to see a Cornerstone Ogerpon. So if we ever get them in the same format, yeah, I think Charizard will drop. So next we have Mega Steelix, and I think much of the same as Aggron, just a little bit worse because its defensive capabilities aren't as good. Mega Steelix is pretty decent. Actually, it's better. It has 95 special defense with 75 HP, and it still has that 230 defense, and it gets body press, iron defense. So you could do the same thing, but you are now steel type as well. So you have a couple more weaknesses than you would otherwise, though you are also immune to electric. There's a couple of different things there that that doesn't get otherwise. Sorry, the other lizard is attacking things. All right, and he's much slower, so there's that disadvantage too. In a one-on-one, who wins? It's gonna be Mega Aggron probably. So yeah, but Mega Steelix, I think it's gonna be pretty decent in a big boy body press team. So. Let me look at the stats. Hold on. This should actually be down here too. Mega Glalie. It gets Refrigerate. Okay, Mega Charizard X. Of course, Wolf Glick, big fan of this Pokemon. I think it'll be decently common. I'm actually gonna put it here. I think it just, like, Tough Claws is good. You know, you got Flare Blitz, Tough Claws. Like, there's a couple of things it could do. Its bulk is relatively good. Fire Dragon is a good typing. Personally, I just don't think it's that good. It gets cycled by Intimidate from Incineroar, which is a huge deal. I just don't know what else to say about it. You know what I mean? You're gonna have to run like Rillaboom with it, which also gets cycled. It's like, I don't know. I just don't think it's that good, especially going into this game. Like there's just so many more options to deal with it, and there's just so many more options that could be used over this. Like, I think Blaziken is just strictly better, even though Blaziken can also get hit by those Intimidates, you know what I mean? I think Charizard does get Sword Dance as well, so like you could do something with that, but overall, I just don't think it's that good. I'm just gonna be honest. Mega Gengar. I mean, what's the chance? Here, listen to this, okay? What's the chance at North American International Championships does Wolf Glick show up with Mega Gengar, Gothitelle, Politoed, and do some Perish Song, huh? What's the it's 100%. All right, Mega Salamence, he's the best Mega. I mean, I don't even think it's, I think these are probably the best four. Yeah, we've gotten through most of them. I think these are the best four by far. But Mega Salamence is by far the best one. It's just so bulky. It's so strong. It outputs so much damage. Like, Aerialate is just such a good ability. It has 145 attack, but people don't even use it as a physical attacker. They use it as a special attacker on a 120, and because of aerial 8, it gets powered up, like the moves get powered up, and it gets stabbed. It gets stabbed. It also benefits from the new speed changes where it goes from 100 speed to 120, so you're getting that. Has 130 defense on a 95 HP, like it's taking hits. It's one of the best options to deal with. It was one of the best options to deal with Mega Kangaskhan. Like, it's just such a good Pokemon. Just don't get hit by an Ice type. That's it. It's the Mega I'm going to be looking forward to using first, and also it's going to pair insanely well with Sneasler. Like, these two Pokemon complement each other like crazy, right? Sneasler, it puts pressure on all the Pokemon that Mega Salamence can't hit, minus Mawile, and it can just like absolutely destroy them, right? It's like you got Dire Claw, you got Gunk Shot, Poison, Poison Jab, whatever you want to use for the Poison type, where you're hitting, those Fairy types. And then you also have like close combat and stuff to deal with the Ice type. So those two Pokemon paired up together are going to be insanely good. And then you add Aegislash, and then you have a core of 3 right there that are just going to be dominant. In my opinion, and I could be wrong. I just think that core is going to be dominant, and it might not even be Aegislash. It could be another Ice type Pokemon. I mean, not Ice type, another Ghost type Pokemon and another Steel type Pokemon. Because we don't know every Pokemon that's going to be in the game yet, of course. But, yeah, if you're building your core around those 3, I think it's going to be really, 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 really strong. I think it's going to be very hard to stop, and you're going to need specific tools to really put pressure onto all those Pokemon. And it's going to be tough. Charizard's one of the Pokemon that is, like, pretty decent. Charizard Y is pretty decent into that core. But then, I still have 3 more Pokemon that can deal with that, right? So it's going to be really interesting to see how that all goes. Mega Gardevoir. Mega Gardevoir is pretty decent. I think it's better than Charizard probably, but I do think it's worse than Mega Alakazam. Like, just looking at it, Mega Gardevoir. Oh, I forgot. It's one of the originals. One of the originals, man. This list, I can't see nothing. Like, it has 165 with Pixelate, right? So it just does massive amounts of damage with Hyper Voice, with whatever other normal move you want to use. Its speed increases, so it's going to be a benefit of the speed increase buff that we have in the newer generations. Its defense is still Booty Cheek Dog Water, and so is its HP, so it still gets knocked out by a bullet punch from my boy here, Scizor. So you do have to overcome a lot. And once again, you would think it's one of the Pokemon that deals with Salamence, but actually physical Salamence in particular, deal with it. Gardevoir's going to pair really well with Incineroar, though, because you're going to be able to intimidate things, put a lot of pressure. Fake Out is really good. And then, yeah, you can kind of go from there, right? Parting shots are going to be pretty significant to help keep this Pokemon going. So you might be running 2 Fake Out users, plus, a parting shot, plus, you get the Incineroar Intimidate. So you're going to have to do some stuff like that. You can also take advantage of the Trace when you first come out to get Intimidate. So if you get lucky, they have their own Incineroar. You come out, you get Trace, Incineroar. You lower both of their attacks. Then you protect for a turn. Next turn, you Mega Evolve, and then you're able to get Hyper Voice, like I said, or whatever other move you want to use. I don't know what other normal moves it gets. Mega Medicham. It was good. It was good one time, right? I think it won like a regional just out of nowhere, and everybody was like shocked. Because it gets Pure Power on 100, so that's a 200, and it's 100 base speed, so it's relatively fast in such a small format. Its defenses are 85s and 60 HP. It's going to get one shot by this guy right here, and probably most of these guys up here. Fighting Psychic, Mat typing. You're neutral with Dark now. You're neutral with Psychic now. So you do gain some benefits from it, but overall, yeah. And it can get Intimidate Cycle too. Actually, can't get cycled because you can knock out Incineroar, so I guess not. Mega Houndoom. Mega Houndoom is actually okay. I think it's niche. It'll probably be about here. It gets solar power, which is huge on a 140, and it has pretty decent defenses, and it's fast. 115 is okay. Yeah, you could just do a lot of damage with this Pokemon and take a hit, and then you're good. But yeah, the sun has to be up, so you're gonna have to run something that sets up the sun, which means you can't like use Charizard, but maybe use this as a counter to Charizard. Maybe you can spec it out to do a certain amount of damage to knock out most Charizards. Maybe with a second hit, a Fake Out or something, plus a Dark Pulse. Also gets Snarl. It's faster than Charizard, plus gets Snarl, so you're able to lower Charizard's special attack. You can do things like that too. So there are some options for it, and it's not bad. It's not bad. Mega Raichu X. I'm going to put it over here. I think this one's going to be the physical one because this looks like a physical attacker. So I think it'll be a little bit better because it's playing a different niche. We just don't have enough information about them. We don't know what their abilities are going to be or what the stat lines are going to look like. So I have no idea. Mega Aerodactyl, though. It's very fast. So I'm going to say niche, probably around here, because the typing is really good and it's really good into Charizard. It has 135 attack, but bigger than that is the 150 speed. So it's going to be as fast as a Calyrex, and it's going to be able to hit Charizard for super effective with the rock moves that it gets. It's possible that I can even get maybe some new rock moves. But yeah, rock like Rock Slide or Stone Edge, I guess, is going to be your best options. It has Tough Claws, so it gets boosted on those physical attacks. I think that's what it does, right? It just boosts physical attacks that make contact. Okay, so what does it... I don't know what rock moves it gets that makes contact, but yeah, it'll be okay, I think. Mega Gallade. Mega Gallade was actually one of my favorite cores to use back then. Was actually Sableye plus Mega Gallade. It was just really strong because of Inner Focus. So I couldn't be intimidated, or not intimidated, faked out. I think this thing will be actually pretty good. I'm going to put it up here. It has 165 attack, and it has really good defenses besides HP with 95 and a 115, and it has 110 speed. So it's going to be in a really interesting speed tier. And it pressures Pokemon like Incineroar. It with Sacred Sword, it pressures, some of these other ones with, like the Psychic Sword thing and Night Slash. So it can do a lot of things. And you don't even have to Mega it. It's one of the Pokemon that you don't actually have to Mega to take advantage of it too. Because now that it gets Sharpness as ability, all those slashing moves are actually going to do massive amounts of damage, especially in a lower power format like this. It's going to be one of the few Pokemon that can deal with like these big boys going for the iron defenses as well. And Inner Focus got buffed because Intimidate no longer works on it. So back then you could still be intimidated. You're just going to be faked out. Now you can't be intimidated and stuff like that. But Incineroar wasn't even out when I used this. I don't know about in 2019. I don't think it was really used, but I could be wrong about that. So I didn't really play in 2019, but Ampharos is trash. This Pokemon's just bad. It just doesn't really have anything going for it. It's just Ampharos with Dragon. It does have a huge special attack and pretty decent bulk, but it has Mold Breaker, so it's like its ability isn't really lending anything to it. You can get past Lightning Rod, I guess, but like, what are we doing? Mega Beedrill. This is a Pokemon that actually benefits from the speed tier changes. A 145 is really good, and 150 attack, it just doesn't do anything. It has adaptability, it just doesn't do anything. Poison type is a lot better than it used to be, but it just doesn't do anything. 40 defense. 40. 65 HP, 40 defense. Mega Dragonite. Okay, so reading the stuff and everything, it says it's going to get faster. Which is good, right? It needs that. But it also, like, implies that it's using flying to attack. I think it's going to get Aerialate. and I think it's going to be really good. And it's going to give Salamence maybe a run for its money, though you're going to have to pick between them because they have this exact same typing. And if they both have Aerialate, then you're kind of losing in on that too. But what Dragonite gets that Salamence doesn't is going to be that extreme speed. So extreme speed with Aerialate, turning it into a flying type and getting a boost is going to be huge. You know, that's better than a Brave Bird that you're going with your Dragonite, who already has really good attack rates, like 137. So even if it goes to 157, right, it only gains 20 points in attack. That's huge. That's literally, basically, it's a little bit less, 2 Talonflame Brave Birds. Yeah, it's going to be pretty good. Sorry, my alarm was about to go off. All right, Delphox. I think it's going to get Levitate. I'm going to be honest. I think it's going to be Levitate, and I think it's going to be decent. I'm going to put it around here, because if this thing gets Levitate and it just gets a little bit more bulk and it gets a better special attack stat and a little bit better speed, this Pokemon's going to be insane. Like, it's already really good. The only disadvantage of Levitate is now it won't be able to go for Expanding Forces, so I guess that could be something that's bad, but there's 2 options here, right? And this is something I've heard talked about too, because it talks about how these sticks also use the fire attack. So people are thinking it's going to be Parental Bond, except only for fire attacks, which I think would be insanely good too. Like going for a flamethrower and then just getting a Parental Bond flamethrower could be very, very good. 2 chances to burn, like you're doing a lot there, right? Mystical Fire. Like, obviously, this thing gets Mystical Fire. You're hitting Mystical Fire twice. You're lowering their special attack 2 times. Like, that's huge. Like, that is huge. So, it could be really cool like that. If it gets Parental Bond for all of its attack and you go for double Expanding Force, this Pokemon's going to be absolutely busted. This is going to be up here. Because even if you manually set, because there's ways to obviously manually set Psychic Terrain. You manually set Psychic Terrain every single time you evolve, and then you go for Expanding Force, and it's just GG's, right? So, yeah, this Pokemon I think is going to be really good. I am really, really excited to see what it is. It's so sad that these Pokemon are actually stuck behind a paywall because there's a lot of casual players who want to use, you know, their starters that they played with a million years ago, and they're not going to be able to because they're stuck behind Nintendo Online, which Nintendo Online is relatively cheap, but like, for somebody who just wants to play the game and have a good time and not worry about any of that stuff, they have to play in the ranked season, which I didn't even know there was going to be ranked on this. But that's another story for another day. We'll get into that another day. Okay. Hawlucha. Okay. The way it makes it sound is it gets super bulky. I think it loses a lot of its speed and it just gains a ton of defense. That's what I think, and I think it's going to be bad. I want it to be good, but I just don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be pretty meh. I think it's going to be I just don't see it being super, super good. I could be wrong because Hawlucha has done okay in a couple of formats in the past. You know, with some of the moves it gets, like it's decent. Flying Press is okay. I just don't see it, man. I just don't see it. The way that it makes it sound, he just gets super bulky and like can take hits with his pecs or whatever it says, and whatever it says, something like that, and it's just like, yeah, like, and it's possible this Pokemon also gains an HP boost because back in Generation 6, we didn't see when forms changed that HP would go up. That is a new thing that they just introduced with Terapagos. So it's possible now that they've tested that and been like, okay, yeah, we can increase HP. Like, that's perfectly fine in a battle. It's possible that now some of these Mega Evolutions are actually going to gain HP buffs too. We don't know. Obviously, we don't know until it comes out. We probably won't even know until the game, like, Champions comes out, because I don't think they're going to gain the same kind of buffs in ZA, but we'll see. Less than a month. I will be streaming all of it, by the way. Mega Lucario. of course, came second at the World Championship. I think this Pokemon has a chance to be pretty decent. Of course, it gets Inner Focus as a like base form move or base form ability, so that's always good. Now that it can stop the Intimidate, so it did get buffed a little bit. I'm looking for Lucario. Oh, there it is. Lucario right here. It has 145 attack, 140 special attack, and a 112 speed, so it's going to gain a buff from that speed change. Its defenses are still pretty meh, and doesn't change its typing, but it does get adaptability now, so you can do quite a bit of damage with those steel type moves. Even if you're going for like Bullet Punch, you're going to get that boost. So like this could take some knockouts on some Pokemon like Gardevoir, so you could do a lot with this Pokemon. Adaptability is just a really, really good ability, but you're also committing your Terrestrialization to Lucario that is maybe not putting out the best defensive strategies, and it doesn't have the best speed. Like Mega Charizard kind of eats this Pokemon as well. It can't hit it for really any damage. And Mega Salamence also does pretty well into it. Even though you're only hitting neutral, you're hitting on a base 70 special defense. So with 70 HP, so you're like a Hyper Voice is going to do like 40% basically every time. Yeah, it's just kind of tough. It's kind of tough. It could be a really good secondary option like we talked about earlier. Other Pokemon have been good secondary options for Megas. This could be one of them. Next, we have Mega Metagross. Mega Metagross was actually very good in the past, and a lot of people talked about how Mega Metagross was going to be really good in Scarlet and Violet. I was a hater, and the haters win this time. And I think they're going to continue to win. I just don't think it holds up anymore. I think it has lost a lot of its oomph, and it loses to Charizard, so it just makes it really, really tough. And now Incineroar exists, and since Incineroar has existed, this Pokemon has been a lot worse than it was in the past because it gets intimidated, right? It has tough claws, but it gets intimidated. Makes it not as good. I'm trying to find it here. Has 145 attack, 150 defense, 110 special defense, and it's also getting a big boost, of course, from that 110 speed. So it's going from 70 to 110 on that speed, which is big, right? That's a huge deal, but you Mega Evolve, and then you get Parting Shot by Incineroar, and then they bring in Incineroar, right? Not only is it resisting all your moves besides Earthquake, you're getting intimidated. And you only have 145 attack, so you don't gain that much attack, right? I think he's 130, so he gains 15, which is still pretty good. Like, 145 is good. That's Ursaluna, right? And he has better bulk than Ursaluna, but he doesn't have the moves of Ursaluna. So I think Metagross will be really good if they allow Terrestrialization and Mega Evolutions. But we'll have to see how that works anyways. You might be only do one on a Pokemon. We don't know. Nobody knows. Mega Tyranitar is not really good, I don't think. I think regular Tyranitar is just better. The only advantage of using Mega Tyranitar, besides its huge increase in bulk, is the fact that it resets up sand, right? That's what it does. Your sand gets taken away, you Mega Evolve. That's it. It keeps its boost to special defense. You know, you get rid of their weather. It has 120 special defense. So in 150 defense, which is a huge increase, I'm pretty sure, it goes from 100 special defense at 110. So yeah, it's a pretty big increase, and it gains 30 attack. So it gains 30 attack, 40 defense, and 20 special defense, 10 speed. And it still has 100 HP. So like, it has the bulk. It definitely has the bulk, but it's never really been that good, and you're probably just better off just using regular Tyranitar and then saving your Mega for something else, maybe even Garchomp, but don't do that. Mega Abomasnow. Now this is a really, really, really interesting one, honestly. The stats that they gave him are bad, right? Because he goes to 132 attack and 132 special attack, 105 on both defenses, but he goes down to 30 speed. This could be in the same tier as Camerupt. The only problem is that Blizzard's worse than Eruption, right? And it doesn't get a boost from anything. It's another case that, you know, you can reset up your weather condition, and snow got buffed, right? So now you're gonna have 150 like 7 defense because you're gonna get that snow buff. So it's gonna be a super bulky Trick Room Pokemon that you can just keep as Abomasnow until you need to like reset up your snow, right? You don't have to switch out to do that. But you're also 4 times weak to any fire attack. And as we could see up here, there's some really good fire Pokemon. You know? So let's just look at the list, okay? We're Grass and Ice. We are weak to Salamence. Salamence hits us with flying types. We are weak to Poison. Weak to Sludge Bomb. We're weak to Steel. You know, Iron Head. We're weak to Fire ×4. We're weak to Flying, right? We're weak to Steel. We're weak to Fighting. It absolutely this does get Gunk Shot though, but it absolutely destroys Greninja. We're weak to Fighting and Fire. We're weak to Fighting if this thing, you know, before it evolves. It's not weak to this. It's not weak to this, though. This thing still does massive damage. We're weak to Fighting or Fire. We're not weak to this, though it does get Mystical Fire now, so possibly it runs Mystical Fire. We are double weak to this, and we can't hit it, really. We're weak to Charizard. Kangaskhan if it gets a fighting move. You know, like Sludge Bomb, we're weak to fighting move, weak to steel moves. We're also weak to body press. And Aggron actually resists. We're weak to this. Like, you see where this is going. We're not really weak to this. We're weak to this. Weak to this. Weak to this. Weak to this. Yes. We're weak to this. Yeah, that's why it's down here, boys. Only because of how many weaknesses it has. Of course, we've seen we've seen Abomasnow actually perform very, very well, especially in Scarlet and Violet, but that was because of terrestrialization early on, and it was partnered with such a good Pokemon in Articuno. So maybe we can see them pair up again in the future, but yeah, no. Mega Bayonet gets Prankster with 165 attack. Wolf Glick used this actually at a regional. I think did he win, or he might have. It's trash though. It's not very good. Sucker Punch is good with 165 base attack. Is pretty good. That's all it gets. That's all it has. It does have some good support moves, but okay. And the last but not least, this is going to be a controversial one. I think I've heard a lot of people talking about this boy. Right. I've seen people up here. I've seen people up here. I've seen people up here. I've seen people down here. I think it'll be mid. It was really, 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 really good. I mean, it has Swift Swim, which is huge, right? But you got 170 base speed, 150 attack. Okay, it does good into Incineroar because it can hit it in both ways. That's really good. Maybe it's higher than this. You know, maybe it's up here. Maybe it's the top of niche, I think. You know what? I'll put it. Maybe it's even better than Kangaskhan. The more I think about it, maybe it's better than Kangaskhan. Because ground and water is such a good offensive typing. It also gets like Wide Guard, which is pretty good. I think it gets Taunt as well. It gets Icy Wind, so you can do some of that stuff if you want to. You're not going to do that. But if Rillaboom is in the game, this Pokemon is Booty Cheek Dog Water. And that's just the way it goes. You know, that's just the way it goes. But anyways, that is my list. I don't think there's too many surprises on here. Maybe Camerupt, I think maybe some people didn't expect. But I think, honestly, I think this Pokemon's going to be very, very good. And I think it's going to be one of those Pokemon you're going to have to watch out for. And you're probably not expecting you're seeing Camerupt. What the heck are they doing with Camerupt? And then you get absolutely annihilated by Camerupt and you're like, oh. Same with Alakazam. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, make sure you guys thumbs it up. If you're not subscribed, make sure you guys do so. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, everybody.